Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the meeting. If everybody could look over the minutes of the previous meeting for me. While you're looking over it, I'll do a roll call. Okay, Shane Burton, Judy Kerr, Chris Gregory is here. Brian Crook is not. David Noller is, and Steve Whitaker is, and I'm present. And our new addition, Miss Linda Bruce. Okay, and when you guys have read over, if anybody wants to go ahead and approve the minutes in a second for me. I approve them. Do we have a second? Second by Chris Gregory. All in favor? Okay, at this time, if you could look over your agenda and we can set that next. Chris Gregory moves to set. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Whitaker. Okay, we can go ahead and get started. Matt Beatty actually came to me and asked whether or not he could do his report first. So we'll go ahead and let him get started.
The biggest thing I have to discuss would be the purchasing of a new ambulance or remounting one of our older ambulances. Our oldest ambulances had a lot of mechanical issues. We've replaced the transmission on it and the DEF system. We've already spent almost $20,000 just keeping it in service. So I think we've reached the time, it's a little over 200,000 miles on it, that we need to replace it. And we're looking at a 12 to 15 month turnaround time once we make the order. So it'll be this time next year, maybe even later before we would receive it. So I put some prices on a new ambulance versus a remount in the agenda here. If you see the new ambulance, which is the Emergency Equipment Professionals Incorporated quote, that's who we got our last ambulance from. And you can see the price there's just a little over $290,000. And that wouldn't include adding our auto loader and power cot, which is about another $67,000. So you're looking at $350,000 pretty much for a new one. Or we reuse one that we have, the box, and just put a new chassis on it. And the prices for that remount is on the backside of that other quote. We would probably go with the F-350. I think the 450 chassis is just too big for that box. It would kind of look weird. So 350 is what we run on our other older ambulance, and we're looking about 176,000 to do that. And there's kind of a list of the items that we discussed replacing and fixing, and that price could go up a little bit, could go down a little bit. Just it's kind of like doing a remodel of a house. You never know what you're gonna find once you get into it, but we feel like 176 is probably a pretty good figure to go with.
I'm sorry, I was gonna ask Matt, that 176, does that include these items we discussed, or would that be extra as well?
That's included. That's all included in that price. Everything is listed there.
The F-450, is that what brand is
That's Ford. Our new truck's a Ford.
Ford?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They get that chassis a little bit quicker than any of the other ones. And since our new one was a Ford, I thought we might start just transitioning back to Ford.
Is that, with the mount we got now?
We run Chevys right now. The newest ambulance is a Ford. So I thought we might just stick with the Ford,
Okay,
you know,
all right,
versus Chevy. The price difference is nominal.
okay.
And then as far as your monthly reports go, do you have any updates on those?
We don't have anything that's changed from the last time. Everything's pretty much identical. We don't have any staffing issues or anything else that are worth talking about, really. We don't have any write-offs this month either, so we don't have anything like that to bring up.
Does,
Sorry, I was gonna ask, is this ambulance something you want to try and get in the 2025, 26 budget, or are you looking to try to get it sooner?
I think 2025, 26 will be fine. This is a reserve ambulance, so it's not a frontline day-to-day truck. I also think it's something we can pull out of our own fund balance.
say one more time.
I think it's something we can pull out of the EMS fund balance out of our own instead of come out of general fund.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Matt before he needs to leave?
I would like to mention one of the things that Commissioner Bruce and I have been working on out at Rocky Creek Loop. They've had some flooding. Obviously, it goes down Brummett Road also. That's a flood zone through there. So with this hazard mitigation grant, we're going to try to see if we can apply for a flood study through that area. See if there's anything that we can maybe make an adjustment, get some grant funds to maybe mitigate some of the flooding through that area.
And the flood grant is something that you need to apply for.
Yes, it's through hazard mitigation through FEMA. So right now, they're not accepting any applications because of all the restructuring or whatever that the president's doing with Elon Musk and everybody. So they're not accepting any applications currently, but as soon as they are, we're going to try to get these in. And it is kind of a long-term process. It's not something that happens real fast. Sometimes it takes maybe even a couple of years to get these funds. It's based on disasters inside the state of Tennessee. So when there's a declared disaster like they had out in East Tennessee, monies that aren't used for that get funneled back to the counties that have applications waiting, and that's how they're funded. So sometimes it takes a little while to get these things started, but it's something we are currently working on.
The way we came to this was, the neighborhood had, flooded, and it's been flooding, and each time it just gets worse and worse, and it actually come up in their yard and carport and totaled their vehicles in their driveway and everything. So It's gonna check also with the county too, to look at it first to see if there's a culvert or culvert that they can put in there or something, because it looks like there had been something years ago and it was gone, and it's just flooding the whole area. So that's kind of how we got on this with the neighbor in, the area down off of 25. And, so that's how we ended up, we talked to the Corps, and the Corps sent us to the EMS, and then, so that's how, on Rocky Creek Loop, that's how, they got onto that. So he's trying to do that, but we're gonna check with the county. They're gonna go out and look and see if there's anything they can do, but he's gonna go on and apply for that, and hopefully if it don't help them now, it'll help somebody a couple years down the road if they can ever get approved. So, anyway.
Anybody else for Matt? Okay. Bessie Cato? Are you, Ray Russell tonight?
All right, so this is a act that was passed by the state to increase basically the amount you can draw during your retirement with TCRS for law enforcement. That includes corrections and fire, which, here we only have paid law enforcement and corrections. But this is an incentive that the state feels like is needed. It passed unanimously through the House of Representatives, 92-0 vote, and in the Senate, 31-0 vote. So the state sees that this is something that is beneficial. There is on page 4, it tells how this can be calculated. There's no specific number or percentage you could put on it. But once you have done your years of service, and I believe reached the age of 60, this would increase the amount of retirement that you would receive. See, it's 0.375 of the officer's salary multiplied by the years of service. And, it's just an increase in retirement for those that spent their years working for the county. And what is needed to get this started is a study done. So the sheriff has asked me to talk to y'all about getting approval for that. I think it's $400, and he can find it in his budget somewhere to take care of that. But they require a study. They come in, look at who's working here, the years of service, and who this would benefit. I don't know a whole lot about it. I just read over this a little bit prior to coming up here, but if y'all have any questions, I'll answer it to the best of my ability.
I have a couple of questions. One, that the $400, what would that be toward that study?
That would pay for the study.
Okay, and reading this thing that was in the packet, it says the hazardous duty benefit can only be established if the local government's retirement system remains at least 70% funded after implementation. This is probably an Amy question. Do we qualify under that? I think that's the only questions I had.
Did he say whether or not he wanted to use his funds for the study or whether or not he wanted us to try to get funds?
He said that he would be able to come up with that money, I believe, in his funds, out of his budget. And also, I'm going to add, this is until someone reaches the age of receiving Social Security benefits. So this is not a lifetime benefit. This is just for a short period of time, basically from the age of 60 to when Social Security kicks in.
So if they, if they retire at 55 and you get 5 years draw on this for 5 years.
There is an early service retirement allowance. It's another figure. It's a reduction of 0.4% for each month the officer retires early. So it's just figured in another way, but it's still benefit to those that serve 20+ years.
I'll go ahead and move that we authorize the sheriff's department to conduct that study and report back to us.
I second.
Okay, Dusty, did they send you up here with any numbers about their monthly reports? No. Do you know any of the information about personnel staff? Any of the vehicles? Training activities?
Probably not. All I was informed was I was talking about the hazard duty supplement, but I mean, I can give the sheriff a phone call, see if there's another list of something I need to go grab.
No, it's fine. I was just curious whether or not they sent you up with them. Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, we can go ahead and vote on it. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Okay, and then rescue will be our third.
We've added 2 more people, which brings our total members to 17, pending 1 drug test. Fleet vehicles, we've actually put a request in the sheriff that if he gets rid of any of the cars, maybe he transfer them to us to use to service the county and other able needs. I've already talked to the sheriff about it. He said he's looking to try to get us at least 2 to 3 maybe whenever they get their new ones, I'm guessing. As far as any calls, we have not had any calls here lately, which is a good thing. Training activities, we are actively trying to find a Swiftwater class, but it is being difficult because it is so backed up between all the fire departments and other rescue units. We've got emails out and we're waiting back for a request. The only problem is with that, we have a concern that the budget may not let us put as many people that want to go to get this Swiftwater team done. That's in the future. Until we get numbers, we can't really say. Far as maintenance needs, of course, we all know the bathroom needs attention again from the mold. I've already talked to Cliff about it. He understands. We've also talked to TDOT about the flooding issue. They're going to try to mitigate the water problem from their side and move the millings pile and see what they can do to direct their side more towards the ditch before it comes to us. But they did recommend that we needed to have a ditch dug of some sort on the backside of the building that separates us to allow the drain towards EMS and then allow drain the other side towards the roadway. I've talked with Timmy and a few others. We have a problem because the water line is not very deep. I think somebody talked to Tony Crook on the water department because he's got the Mini X, so he's probably got the only piece of equipment that'll fit back in there. He said he probably don't have a problem doing it. We just have to check and see about it. Of course, they have tools to see where the water line and stuff like that is. Other than that, we're trying to get some uniform stuff done, and we may need to move some money around, depending on, we have a couple quotes in. We're just waiting on them to come back to get definite numbers and make sure the budget fits to what we have left for the year.
Did you say Cliff was gonna look at the bathroom problem?
I'm guessing he's the one that fixed it the last time, but we showed him, he knows about it. That's part of the request. I think that we gotta get with him and put in a request and go from there, but Matt is informed of it, so we'll go through him.
Okay, thank you.
If memory serves, at our February meeting, I think we were told that, the mayor and Cliff would go up there and meet with them and try to get a plan. Because there was stuff like the bathroom, but there was also stuff about some of the electrical outlets that were sparking. Has any of that been addressed?
They actually already took care of the electrical problems. Of course, it takes a little more time when it comes to the mold and treatment and stuff like that, so it don't come back. That's beyond my scope of what they need to do. That'll go through maintenance, I'm guessing Cliff's department maybe. And then the rest of it's just getting rid of the rainwater, which Timmy did ask that he has forms, he can do concrete work. We thought about putting like a little concrete barrier around that side, but we don't know what the process step is to do it. If we get a little bit of money, we'll do the work ourselves if it's allowed, but that might be a Rosalie question. I'm not sure.
Cliff, did you want to speak to any of this?
Okay, so what y'all have in front of you, some of you just have 3 pages. My copier didn't collate and I left a stack at the office. But starting on page 1, you can see that every time we've had a service call or an email from rescue, we've done it same day. And a lot of times we'll get asked to do something without a maintenance request. And we just ask that they fill one out. it keeps our paperwork straight, lets us know how old some of the equipment is and things like that. So I've been back and forth with Lonnie on some of this stuff. The ditch would have to be up to Tony. My backhoe won't fit back there. We'd have to rent a small piece of equipment or do something like that. The water line was laid by some of the rescue guys 10 years ago, roughly 10 years ago, and it's buried anywhere from 4 inches to 10 inches deep. It's just real shady back there on how we're gonna be able to dig this ditch and get it done. The mold issues have been dealt with twice, and they're gonna continue to happen until we get the drainage issues resolved, because the water is running through there and just flooding the bathroom, and that's almost the only place it floods is the bathroom. So one issue with that is somebody removed the heater from the bathroom. It wasn't my department, but somebody did remove the heater from the restroom. That temperature would help keep it dry and keep the mold from coming. I've talked to my maintenance guy today. We're gonna try to get some kind of mold resistant drywall or some kind of mold resistant wall material to put in there. As far as all the heating and cooling requests, I kind of wish Matt would have stayed a minute, but he had to go. The heater that they said never got serviced was overlooked on my part because it came from Teresa Carmen's email, and most of the time when she emails me, it's got something to do with the ambulance bay. We did go, the ambulance bay did have a thermostat control module that was caked up. We had to clean it up and get it going. So it turns out it was down too. We did get that one fixed, and I think they wound up having to call Mr. Atwood, Robbie Atwood, to come fix the one in the rescue bay. We just overlooked that. That's my fault. I'll take full responsibility for that. But as far as me saying I don't answer calls, I've never received a phone call from Bud or anybody in rescue. Lonnie's got my number now, and he can get in touch with me if he needs to. Any of these maintenance requests that come across my desk are dealt with immediately, because we just try our best to take care of the county. We do everything we can do. If there's a question that we have on a heat and cooling situation, I can't tell you how many times I've taken pictures of part numbers, model numbers, serial number, and sent it to Robbie Atwood, and he'll tell me what I need, order it and get it to me. And we do all the service work. We do everything we can to save the county money. Nothing goes unanswered in my department. So I don't appreciate, what he said about what we do and how we handle our department, because that's not what goes on in my department. If any of you guys are curious about how we run, you're more than welcome to come ride around with me for a day and just see what we do. Be glad to show any of you. That's about all I've got on the situation. We're working on the mold, but as long as the water is going to continue to flood the building, we can't do anything with it. The electrical outlets, like Lonnie said, was taken care of the day we were told about it. We had outlets on the service truck, and we changed them that day and had everything up and running before we left there. So I'll answer any questions that any of you guys have.
He also advised that we possibly need to look at more of a different system instead of the propane, because the amount of pressure that it does may blow out the pilot light, and therefore it may or may not fill up with gas. And the dangers of the gas just roaming around and somebody coming in, happen to smoke a cigarette or whatever when they're not supposed to, but it happens, could be a problem. So he was talking more of a central air and heat, a small unit may go in the office. That was what was recommended for to help control the mold as well. The
HVAC unit that they have is they've got an updated heater now, but they had a heater with no pilot light sensor. If something would have happened and the pilot light got blown out or the heater was on, it would have just continued to fill the room with gas. Their AC system is an old antique window unit from, I'm gonna guess, the 80s or early 90s. It's completely wore out. They would do better with a mini split, a little electric mini split, or a small HVAC system to be installed. That's something we just have to look into and get some measurements and some ideas on how much equipment we would need to take care of those rooms.
Thank you. Okay, do you have anything else for your report?
We've actually required getting a new sign put up there at Rescue, getting it redone so it don't look wore out. We're trying to clean up the building area. I've also talked to Sheriff Russell about moving the containers up there. He said that they're going up for sale whenever they get it all done. So he's gonna try to get somebody to move them. That may help with some of the flooding issues as well, with being right there containing the water in that area up front. Once we get those moved, we're just gonna try to keep it clean and see if we can get it all moved to where the water will go wherever it needs to go to stop the flooding. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it.
Did you guys get your generator?
Do what, ma'am?
Sorry, did you guys get your generator?
Uh, we have not got our generator yet. No, ma'am.
Does anybody else have questions for rescue? Okay, we'll move to our final one, fire.
My report's in your packet. We're currently with 20 active volunteers. One is recruits in processing. Our brush truck 12 is still in Blankenship's Collision Center. Been there a long time. Our call year starts December 1 each year, and the numbers reflect from December 1 to March 13. We'd run 33 calls, and you can see on your tabulation sheet a breakdown of how those calls played out and response times and volunteer response as well. Training activities, we conduct about 3 hours at least per month. The most recent one, we spent time discussing scene size up and vehicle placement on a scene. And then the members also, as a part of their training, do a preventive maintenance checklist of all the vehicles once a month. We have begun to accumulate the members' registration forms for the Vector Solutions online training. As soon as we get all of that information inputted and together, then the members can begin training modules through Vector Solutions. We will be applying for about $11,800 worth of grant dollars from Enbridge slash Benevity. They use an outsource gifting firm foundation to channel their charitable giving monies. We're looking to do some radio service upgrades, purchase a couple of 4-meter gas detectors, and get some gated hydrant valves out of that. So we won't have to utilize our county money. I've had no updates from the architect on the building addition that we talked about to store the extra vehicles in. So no update on that. I'll answer any questions you've got. Correct. Any other questions? Enbridge has a charitable giving arm that goes out to first responders, and they don't have a particular grant cycle year, so anytime a need comes up in their service area, entities can apply for such a grant. We applied 2 years ago and got a substantial amount that went toward turnout gear that we matched along with some county money and put basically all of our firemen in new turnout gear. So this cycle, we will apply for these for gas meters and radio upgrades and some gated hydrant valves. But they'll allow you to participate in one grant per year. But they don't have a particular open or closed date attached to those. So whenever the need arrives, you can apply.
Does anybody else have any questions for him? Okay, we'll move to other discussion. The only thing that, I was scrubbing through all of my lists of our recent meetings. The last thing that I saw that we haven't scrubbed through was that old report from back in the day with Kevin Lauer. Are we postponing all the findings of that, or what are we doing with that?
Are you addressing that question to me? Yeah, we're gonna get a summary of that and bring it soon. I can't say this month or next month, we'll get that. Kevin has been promoted at the state and has just told us he doesn't have the time now to come and make the report himself. So we'll just get copies of the report and kind of summarize it and bring a report to the committee. We can do that next month. I'll try to get him to come again, but I've contacted him a couple of times and he said he's just too tied up with his new promotion to bring it himself.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
since I've not been on the committee that long, can you expand on what that report is?
do you want to address that one?
Is that question come out? Say that again, please. What was it for? The original intent of the survey was to look at combining rescue and fire. And I think one of the things that came out of that report was that he would recommend a full-time fire chief, but there are just a number of items that we'll break down and bring it before the committee and then before the court.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, if anybody would like to adjourn us? All right, next month will be the same time. I think we can probably move it to 6. And it will be before the full body court next month as well.